The story begins in a kitchen that looks like a five-star restaurant. We see a team of chefs expertly preparing a flawless banquet under the strict supervision of a head chef who demands perfection. But this food isn't for a wedding or a royal gala. We cut to a cold, concrete cell marked with a number 48. A man named Goring wakes up. He is confused. He meets his cellmate, an older man named Trimagesi. Trimagesi explains the terrifying reality of their location, the vertical self-management center. The rules are simple but cruel. There's a large rectangular hole in the middle of the floor and ceiling. Once a day, a floating platform filled with food passes through that hole. It stops for a few minutes on each level. The people on level 1 eat first, then level 2. By the time it reaches the lower levels, there is usually nothing left but empty plates and bones. Currently, they are on level 48. Trimagesi says this is a good level. They will get food. The platform descends. As it arrives, we see the grotesque reality. The food is messy, having been touched and eaten by nearly 100 people above them. Trimagesi eats like an animal, shoving food into his mouth. Goring, disgusted by the lack of hygiene and dignity, refuses to eat. Goring spots a perfect, untouched apple. He puts it in his pocket for later. However, as the platform leaves, the room suddenly becomes unbearably hot. Trimagesi warns him, "You cannot keep food. In this prison, if you hoard even a single crumb, the room will either boil you alive or freeze you to death." Goring throws the apple back down the hole, and the temperature returns to normal. Over the next few weeks, the two men talk. We learn that everyone is allowed to bring one item. Goring, an idealist, brought a book, Don Quixote. He volunteered to come here for 6 months in exchange for an accredited diploma. He wants to quit smoking and read books. Trimagesi is much more cynical. He brought a Samurai Plus, a self-sharpening knife. He is here for manslaughter. He threw his TV out of a window in a fit of rage and accidentally killed an illegal immigrant walking on the street below. He shows zero remorse. One day, a bloody, terrifying woman named Miharu rides the platform down. She isn't eating, she is searching. Trimagesi explains that she descends every month looking for her lost child. He warns Goring not to help her, claiming she is crazy and dangerous. The most terrifying rule of the pit is the shuffle. Every month, prisoners are gassed to sleep and wake up on a different level. It is completely random. You could be on level 1 today and level 200 tomorrow. The month ends. The gas fills the room. Goring wakes up, but something is wrong. He can't move. He is tied to his bed. He looks at the panic sets in. Trimagesi is already awake and sitting across from him. The old man explains the situation calmly, but chillingly. At level 171, the platform will be empty. No food will reach them. They will starve. To survive, Trimagesi has made a logical decision. He has tied Goring up so he can cut off strips of his flesh to eat. He promises not to kill him, just to amputate pieces of him to sustain them both. He calls it survival, not murder. For a week, Goring suffers in silence, tied up and starving. The platform arrives every day with nothing but sparkling clean plates. Trimagesi grows weaker and hungrier. Finally, on the 8th day, the old man picks up his Samurai Plus knife. He approaches Goring, intending to cut a piece of his leg. Just as he is about to slice into Goring, the platform descends. Miharu, the woman looking for her child, is on it. Seeing the attack, she jumps off and smashes Trimagesi over the head. She takes his knife and slits his throat. Goring is saved, but the horror isn't over. To survive the rest of the month, he has no choice. Driven by primal hunger, Goring eats the raw flesh of his dead cellmate. This moment breaks him. He begins to hallucinate, seeing Trimagesi's ghost mocking him. The idealist who entered with a book has now become a cannibal. Another month passes. The gas puts Goring to sleep, and when he wakes up, his situation has improved drastically. He is on level 33, a luxury level where plenty of food still remains. He also has a new cellmate, but it's someone he recognizes. It is Imagiri, the administration official who interviewed him before he entered the prison. She has brought her dog, a sausage dog named Ramesses II. Imagiri reveals why she is here. She was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Instead of dying in a hospital, she volunteered to enter the pit to try and fix the system from the inside. She is incredibly naive. She tells Goring that the facility is called a vertical self-management center. According to her, there are exactly 200 levels. She believes that there is enough food for everyone, but only if the prisoners practice spontaneous solidarity, meaning they should eat only what they need. Imagiri tries to put her theory into practice. She prepares ration portions for herself and her dog, and she tries to communicate with the two men on level 34 below. She politely asks them to eat only their shares so food can reach the bottom. The men below laugh at her. They explain that they just came from level 88 and are starving. They don't care about solidarity. They care about revenge and filling their stomachs. Out of spite, they begin to gorge themselves on the food. Goring realizes that kindness doesn't work in the pit. He steps in and yells at the men below. He doesn't ask politely. He threatens to defecate directly onto the food if they don't listen. The men below, terrified of eating human waste, immediately stop. Goring teaches Imagiri a harsh lesson. People here don't listen to reason. They only listen to fear. But as he points out, he can't influence the people above him because he can't defecate upwards. Days later, the platform descends carrying a familiar guest, Maharu, the woman searching for her child. She is badly injured from her travels. Goring and Imagiri pull her into the cell and nurse her back to health. However, Maharu is feral and trusts no one. While Goring tries to keep the peace, he wakes up to a horrific scene. Maharu has killed Imagiri's dog, Ramesses II, and is eating him. Imagiri is devastated. She tries to fight Maharu, but the wild woman is too strong. After her meal, Maharu jumps back onto the platform and descends into the darkness. Broken by the death of her dog, Imagiri reveals a shocking piece of information to Goring. When Goring mentions Maharu's son, Imagiri shakes her head. She claims that the administration has strict rules. No children are allowed in the pit. She remembers processing Maharu's paperwork 10 months ago. According to the files, Maharu entered alone. She is an aspiring actress who wanted to buy a ukulele with her prize money. Imagiri insists that the boy Maharu is looking for does not exist. He is just a delusion of a madwoman. Goring is left confused, not knowing who to believe, the system or his own eyes. The shuffle happens again. Goring wakes up, but the number on the wall is a death sentence. Level 202. Imagiri is horrified. She was absolutely certain that there were only 200 levels. Now, confronted with the reality that the administration lied to her and that her life's work was a sham, she breaks. Unable to handle the guilt and the impending starvation, she hangs herself in the cell. Goring is left alone with her corpse. For a month, the platform arrives empty. To survive the freezing cold and hunger of level 202, Goring is forced to eat the flesh of his friend Imagiri. He descends further into madness, haunted by hallucinations of both Trimagesi and Imagiri arguing in his head. Another month passes. Goring wakes up in paradise, or so it seems. Level 6. There is plenty of food. His new cellmate is a strong, athletic man named Bahara, who brought a rope as his item. Bahara has a plan. He doesn't want to wait. He wants to climb to level 0. He calls out to the couple on level 5, asking for help. They encourage him to climb up. Bahara scales the rope, believing he is about to escape. But human nature in the pit is cruel. Just as he reaches the top, the couple on level 5 pushes him back down. To add insult to injury, the man on level 5 defecates right on Bahara's face. Defeated and humiliated, Bahara retreats into the cell. Goring, now wise and hardened by his time in the lower depths, proposes a different plan. He estimates there are actually around 250 levels. He convinces Bahara that climbing up is impossible. Instead, they must ride the platform down. Their mission: protect the food. They will ride the platform and physically force prisoners to ration the food so that it reaches the very last level. They tear metal bars from the cell to use as weapons. The platform arrives, and they jump on. The plan is strict. The people on the first 50 levels eat every day, so they get nothing. Goring and Bahara will defend the food with their lives until they reach level 51. The violence begins immediately. As they descend, prisoners try to grab the food. Goring and Bahara beat them back with their metal bars. On level 7, a man begs for food, explaining he was starving on level 114 last month. Goring shows no mercy. He hits the man and protects the feast. They're no longer just prisoners. They have become the violent guardians of the system. As Goring and Bahara descend, the mission becomes a bloodbath. They hand out rations, but they have to beat and kill anyone who tries to take more than their share. On a lower level, they meet a wise man in a wheelchair named Senior Brambang. He tells them their plan is flawed. Breaking the system isn't about feeding people. It's about sending a message to the administration. He points to a luxury dessert on the platform, a panna cotta. Brambang suggests that if this perfect, delicious dish returns to level 0 untouched, it will prove that the prisoners are not animals, but human beings capable of dignity. Goring and Bahara agree. They will guard the panna cotta with their lives. The descent continues. It gets bloodier. They witness Maharu being attacked by inmates. Despite their best efforts to save her, they fail. Maharu is killed, and both Goring and Bahara sustain critical injuries during the fight. Bleeding and exhausted, they keep going down. They realize the prison is far deeper than anyone imagined. They pass level 200, then 250. The platform accelerates, skipping levels where everyone is already dead. Finally, the platform stops at the very bottom, level 333. The room is freezing, but they are not alone. Under the bed, Goring spots a little girl. It is Miharu's daughter. The child that everyone said didn't exist is real. She has been surviving at the bottom of hell this whole time. The two men face an impossible choice. The girl is starving. They have the panna cotta, the message they swore to protect. But seeing the innocent child, they realize the dessert doesn't matter. They feed the panna cotta to the girl. The next morning, Goring wakes up from a fever dream. He discovers that Bahara has died from his wounds during the night. Goring is now the sole survivor. When the platform arrives, he picks up the sleeping girl and steps onto it. They descend into the black void beneath the prison, preparing for the platform to shoot back up to level 0 at incredible speed. In the darkness, Goring sees the ghost of Trimagesi one last time. Goring intends to ride the platform up with the girl to testify, but Trimagesi stops him. He tells him, the message requires no bearer. Goring realizes the truth. He has killed, eaten human flesh, and been corrupted by the pit. He belongs here. The girl is the only pure thing left. She is the message. In a final act of redemption, Goring steps off the platform and walks into the darkness with Trimagesi, accepting his death. He watches as the platform shoots upward, carrying the sleeping child toward the light, a symbol of hope rising from the depths of hell. And that is the end of the platform. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for more psychological thrillers. Let me know in the comments. Do you think the girl made it to the top? Thanks for watching.